after that meeting that I decided I'm going to start recording some of these conversations. It was not at the request of Mr. Patterson. It was not at the request of my boss, Rick Cara. It was something I decided to take upon myself.
If we're ready to keep going.
Mr. H, I'd like the opportunity to give council the opportunity to ask questions, specific questions.
Okay.
Councilman Sandoval?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a justification for the conflict of interest, you included a paragraph, and I wrote it down, and I'd like to read it to you, and you tell me if, well, in a plain word translation, I'd like you to tell me what this means. It is a well-established and solitary doctrine that he who is entrusted with the business of others cannot be allowed to make such business an object of pecuniary profit to himself. The rule does not depend on reasoning technical in its character, and it's not local in its application. It is based upon principles.
That's the meaner thing we were talking about.
Right. It is based upon principles of reason, of morality, and public policy. It has its foundations in the very constitution of our nature, for it has authoritatively been declared that a man cannot serve two masters, and is recognized, enforced, wherever a well-regulated system of jurisprudence prevails. The law will in no case permit persons who have undertaken a fiduciary character or charge to change or invert that character by leaving it and acting for themselves in a business in which their character binds them to act for others. The application of the rule may, in some instances, appear to bear hard upon individuals who have committed no moral wrong, but is essential to the keeping of all parties filling a fiduciary character to their duty to preserve the rule in its integrity and apply it to every case in which justly falls within its principle. Okay. I would like to give you what I think that means.
Okay.
It means that because he's a city councilman, the business of the city, the finances of the city come first before all.
Yes.
Why didn't I just say that?
No shit.
Because it was
Councilman Sandoval?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarity, it was your idea and your idea only to put the recorder in your pocket to record this conversation. Right?
That is correct. Not only was it my decision, I did not advise anybody that I was doing so. So my staff did not know I was doing it. Rick Cara did not know I was recording conversations. Neither did John Patterson.
And the reason that you did that is because of the pattern of alleged abuse that you were getting from the council.
Correct.
Councilman Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Beamer. Have there been times where you have had to fear for your safety, but has it ever come close to physical?
Well, you've probably heard the report I filed with Human Resources for the workplace violence. Certainly, I felt threatened at that meeting when somebody, are you going to stand up, bitch? And postured and halfway took a step towards me.
Other questions from council? Meyer.
If I may ask, Andrew, how long have you been in the city engineer's position?
City engineer position since 2008.
How long have you been employed with the city?
Since 95.
Are you, is this somewhat unstandard, what you've gone through since Mr. Headquist has moved on?
My very presence here is not standard. So, yes.
Have we ever had any conversations pertaining to construction or?
Not that I can recall.
Thank you.
Councilman Powell?
One of the matters that was brought up in this conversation was an unpaid bill. And it's my understanding that the city was tardy in payment of a bill to Mr. Headquist. Were you aware of that before this meeting, that we had failed to pay him in a prompt manner for that?
I was. Mr. Headquist had called me sometime, I believe, after that council meeting and inquiring about his check. And at that time, I had anticipated it would have been paid at that previous council meeting. It was for a substantial amount of money, and we then went about getting what we referred to as a pre-writ check issued so that he could get paid and not have to wait to the next council meeting.
Having worked with Mr. Headquist for a number of years, would you have expected him to be upset about this late payment?
I would. Yes.
Did you have any conversations after this came about where it seemed that that matter had been resolved satisfactorily?
It was my understanding that a pre-writ check had been issued and that he was going to be picking it up the next day after our August 28th meeting. He actually ended up picking it up later that afternoon, that very same day.
What's the process for getting the check? Did you have anything to do with it being delayed?
The process for essentially processing a pay application from Headquist Construction. It goes to the engineer, in this case it was CEPI. They review it, they sign off on it, and then they submit it to myself. I review it, I sign off on it, and then it goes to my boss. And from my boss, it goes to the city manager's office and then down to finance for processing. I can tell you I processed the pay application the same day it arrived on my desk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Reeves, in reading your prepared manuscript for us, and in looking at our code of ethics, it would appear that the vast majority of our code of ethics are derived directly from state statutes. Is that a fair assessment?
It's similar, and these rules are common all over the country, I think.
I'm just looking at the part that you've referenced time and time again about being directly or indirectly involved post-awarding of contract. And that is strictly a state statute also.
Yeah.
Pointed out in his discussion that there has been this statement that he was prodded into being upset and making threatening statements. Did you engage in any behavior by your own recollection that, knowing his history, might have triggered him into an angry outburst?
None of the kind that we witnessed that afternoon.
Have you had the same experience where you had a somewhat fear for your safety?
Mr. Chairman, I would not say that I felt personally threatened, no.
And last question, the first meeting that you talked about, was that the meeting in which I happened to be walking by and overheard some of the inappropriate conversation and came in to kind of intervene?
Mr. Chairman, yes, that is correct. The August 20th meeting where you arrived on 5:30 end of the meeting.
Thank you.
I appreciated your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Beamer. Have there been times where you have had to fear for your safety, but has it ever come close to physical?
When you've probably heard the report I filed with Human Resources for the workplace violence. Certainly, I felt threatened at that meeting when he told me, "Are you going to stand up, bitch?" and postured and halfway took a step towards me.